Hey guys, this is Fake Beard, and I'm coming to you with another video. This time I'll be pointing out what are my most awaited games of the months of July 2022. There's a little bit of everything. We have action-adventure, story-driven, visual novels, horror, and we have not one but two games where you play as an animal. So I hope you guys have fun watching, and I'll see you at the end of the video. Zell is an indie top-down action RPG developed by Tiny Roar and Assemble Entertainment. The player takes the role of Reed, a woman who finds herself stranded on the futuristic sci-fi themed world of Zell. Reed realizes she has no recollection of how she got there or anything that regards her former life, so she decides to go on a journey to unravel the secrets of her past and her connection to the mysterious planet of Zell. It's a top-down action-adventure game that takes inspiration from the Zelda series and alternates between combat sections and puzzle-solving sections. The action sections will feature hack-and-slash combat where the player will have the ability to dodge and parry, as well as having access to a wide array of weapons. During the puzzle-solving sections, the player will make use of the various gadgets they gather along the journey in a creative way to find a way through. The game will also feature the ability to travel through time to traverse previously inaccessible areas or fight enemies in a weakened state. Zell merges the classic Zelda formula with new gameplay mechanics and a sci-fi setting, as well as a strong emphasis on storytelling. A demo of the game is currently available on Steam, offering the first 30 minutes of the game for free. Zell is releasing for the PC on the 12th of July and on the 14th for the Switch. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is an upcoming open-world action role-playing game developed by Monolith Soft and published by Nintendo for the Nintendo Switch. The plot involves two nations at war and three soldiers from each of the two sides that, after encountering each other on the battlefield, end up becoming fugitives and hunted by both sides of the war. The six soldiers decide to unite and set out on a journey to seek answers. Like its predecessors, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is an action role-playing game with a large open world to explore. In this episode of the series, the game allows for up to 7 party members to participate in battles at once, including the main party of 6 and one of several different characters that appear over the course of the story. Players can assign main characters roles like healer, attacker, and defender, as well as choosing a class or a job to customize the characters even further. Under certain conditions, specific pairs of party members can fuse into mini-mechs and gain access to a set of more powerful moves. In between battles, the protagonist will be able to use rest pods to craft new equipment, cook meals, or build character bonds. The game will be delving into themes like war, class struggle, and free will. Fans of the series shouldn't be disappointed, and the game is releasing July the 29th for Nintendo Switch. Beijing-based indie developer eBrain Studio is making their debut and releasing Loopmancer, a roguelite releasing to PC, Xbox, and PS this July. The game will follow the story of Chang Zixu, a private detective in a futuristic cyberpunk dystopian city. While investigating the disappearance of a famous female journalist, Chang Zixu ends up getting killed, but immediately after his death, he wakes up in his apartment bedroom and realizes that the day in which he was killed is repeating itself. The game is a side-scrolling action-oriented platformer with typical roguelite elements, where every time you die, the game essentially restarts itself, but you get to keep your main currency, which allows you to upgrade your skills and unlock new weapons before your next playthrough. The game features 7 large stages that will change at random after each death, over 100 weapons, prosthetic limb chips that give you access to different skills, and 30 plus enemies with unique attacks. The game is coming to all platforms this July the 13th. Digimon Survive is another video game based on the Digimon anime series, developed by Witchcraft and published by Bandai Namco. The plot of Digimon Survive sees a group of teenagers who get lost on a school camping trip and find themselves transported to a dangerous world inhabited by digital monsters. The game is a mix between a story-driven visual novel where players' choices influence the direction of the story and a survival game with tactical RPG combat style. The gameplay is divided in 4 different types of gameplay. Drama parts that proceeds as text adventures to tell the story, search actions where the player searches for a way to survive, free action where the player chooses where to go and whom to talk to during a limited window of time, and free battle sections where the player can enter certain areas to train their Digimon and collect items. The game will release in Japan on July the 28th and worldwide on July the 29th. It will be available for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and Microsoft Windows. As Dusk Falls is an original interactive drama from Interior Night, coming to Xbox and PC this July. The developer Interior Night is a new Xbox game studio led by Caroline Marshall, who was previously a lead game designer at Quantic Dream, the same game studio that made titles like Heavy Rain and Detroit Become Human. Taking place over the span of 30 years, As Dusk Falls explores the lives of 2 families that become entangled. After a robbery gone wrong, what results is a hostage situation and a story of betrayal, sacrifice, and resilience. It's a branching story-driven game that can be played solo or in co-op with up to 8 players at a time. The storyline, the character relationships, and even who lives and dies can change depending on the choices made by the player or by their ability to quickly respond to quick-time events. The cinematic story is brought to life by the performance of actors that are digitally rendered into a beautiful art style, but seeing how the player interaction is minimal, it would be more appropriate to describe the title as an interactive novel rather than an actual video game. As Dusk Falls launches for PC, Xbox One, and Xbox S and X on July the 19th and will be available on Game Pass on day 1. Endling is an eco-conscious survival adventure game developed by Hero Beat Games and published by Handy Games, set to release July the 19th. In a world where mankind has exhausted or polluted all natural resources of the environment, the player takes control of a fox that is the last mother fox on Earth, trying to find a safe place where its 3 cubs can survive and grow, and to save the species from extinction as a result. Endling is a 3D side-scrolling survival game with stealth elements. The player has to defend itself and its 3 cubs from natural and unnatural threats. To ensure the survival of the species, the player will have to hunt other animals to feed his cubs, find improvised shelters to spend the day in, and during the night, use the darkness as an advantage and move stealthily from location to location. The cubs can level up and be taught skills, making them more likely to survive. Depending on how the player plans their moves and the decisions they make, the cubs will grow up and develop unique personalities. The game is set to release July the 19th for PC, PlayStation 4, Switch, and Xbox One. A demo is already available on Steam, that can be downloaded for free. Stray is a third-person adventure platformer published by Annapurna Interactive, scheduled for release on 19th of July 2022. Blue 12 Studio, the developer of the game, was founded by Ubisoft employees who wanted to pursue an independent project after working at Ubisoft. Set in a decadent cyberpunk futuristic city, you play as a stray cat that gets separated from its family and is trying to find its way back home. The game is an adventure platformer where the player uses their cat agility to run and jump over obstacles, sneak around the city, solve puzzles, all while avoiding the attention of some of the unwelcoming robots roaming around. The cat has to unravel the mysteries of the super technological city to find its way back. During their adventure, the player meets a flying drone who becomes their companion and follows them around, acting as a storage unit for items and as a translator helping the cat communicate with the android inhabitants of the city. The player can also engage in playful non-gameplay related activities like clawing at rugs, couches or doors, meowing to attract the attention of residents, or simply take a nap. Stray is looking to be the ultimate cat role-playing fantasy, and it's coming to PS4, PS5 and PC July the 19th. Madison is an upcoming first-person indie horror from Blodius Games releasing this July the 8th. The player takes the role of Luca, a man who wakes up locked in a dark room finding himself haunted by a ghost that goes by the name of Madison. Madison will try to force Luca to enact gory rituals and commit abominable acts. The game is a first-person immersive psychological horror with ultra-realistic graphics and an unsettling atmosphere. To spice things up, the player will be using a special instant camera that can connect the human world with the beyond. Photos taken with the special camera will reveal in-game details that are not visible to the naked eye. Like most games of the genre, the player has to explore their surroundings, search and examine items, as well as solve puzzles, and most of all survive. The game looks to be taking cues from the cancelled Hideo Kojima project PT Silent Hills and will be releasing on July the 8th for PS4, PS5, PC, Xbox One and Xbox S and X. So, we made it to the end of the video. If you guys enjoyed it, maybe like and maybe subscribe if you want to see more. And I'll see you next time. Bye bye.